Taiwan's future now sits at the center of global power politics. President Donald Trump says the decision ultimately lies with China's leader, Xi Jinping, but warns any military move would meet firm U.S. opposition. Trump insists there is no precedent, no green light, and no tolerance for force. At the same time, the world's last major nuclear arms treaty is hanging by a thread. If it expires, Trump says, signaling a possible end to limits on U.S. and Russian nuclear weapons. China is being urged to join future talks and refusing. Red lines are being drawn. Arms control is unraveling, and the balance of power is shifting fast. The future of Taiwan, according to U.S. President Donald Trump, rests with one man, Chinese President Xi Jinping. Speaking to the New York Times, Trump said Xi views Taiwan as part of China. But Trump insists Beijing knows exactly where Washington stands. Trump says he has warned Xi directly. Any military move against Taiwan would trigger strong U.S. opposition, and he believes China will not act, at least not while he is president. As tensions simmer across the globe, critics are asking a dangerous question. Did Washington's recent actions elsewhere change the rules? Trump rejects that idea outright. He says the U.S. operation in Venezuela sets no precedent, calling Venezuela a real threat with direct spillover into the United States, from migration to crime and drugs. Taiwan, Trump insists, is a completely different calculation. China, however, remains unmoved. Beijing says Taiwan is a purely internal matter and has never ruled out the use of force. Taiwan rejects those claims and continues to rely on U.S. backing for its defense. And as one nuclear question looms in Asia, another is unfolding in Europe. Trump now says he is prepared to let the last remaining U.S.-Russia nuclear arms treaty expire. The New START agreement, limiting the world's most powerful nuclear weapons, ends on February 5th. If it expires, Trump says, promising instead a better deal. Arms control experts warn the collapse of the treaty could trigger a new nuclear buildup. But Trump says any future agreement must include China. Beijing has already rejected that demand. With Taiwan in the balance, nuclear limits fading, and great power tensions rising, the world is watching what happens next.
U.S. President Donald Trump has given his backing to a sweeping bipartisan sanctions proposal aimed at tightening economic pressure on Russia by targeting countries that continue to buy its energy exports, according to Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Speaking after a meeting with Trump at the White House, Graham said the president had green-lit the bill, which has been under discussion for months. A White House official also confirmed Trump's support to the Associated Press. Graham described the timing as critical, arguing that Ukraine has shown willingness to make compromises for peace while Russian President Vladimir Putin continues military operations. Putin is all talk, continuing to kill the innocent, Graham said in a statement. The proposed legislation, co-authored by Lindsey Graham and Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, is designed to choke off revenue streams that Washington believes are sustaining Russia's war effort in Ukraine. The legislation, commonly referred to as the Graham-Blumenthal bill, would empower the U.S. president to impose tariffs of up to 500% on nations that knowingly purchase Russian oil, gas, or uranium, a move that could directly affect major buyers such as India, China, and Brazil. If enacted, the bill would allow the administration to levy steep tariffs and secondary sanctions on countries importing Russian energy products. The measures could be triggered if the U.S. president determines that Moscow is refusing to negotiate a peace settlement with Kiev, or if Russia violates any future agreement, launches another invasion, or attempts to undermine Ukraine's government. According to the text of the bill, the U.S. president would be required to raise duties on all goods and services imported from countries trading in Russian-origin oil or uranium to at least 500% their value. Graham has openly said the bill is intended to give Trump leverage over countries buying cheap Russian oil and accused them of indirectly financing what he called Putin's war machine. He specifically named China, India, and Brazil as countries that could face pressure under the legislation. The bill enjoys broad bipartisan backing in the Senate and has a companion version in the House of Representatives introduced by Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. While the White House had previously sought revisions to ensure greater flexibility for the president, it remains unclear whether those changes have been incorporated. Graham indicated a Senate vote could come as early as next week, depending on the legislative calendar. The proposal has raised concerns in New Delhi, where India's reliance on discounted Russian crude has surged since the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. In June, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar acknowledged that New Delhi is closely watching developments in the U.S. Congress, saying in Washington that any move affecting India's interests would be taken seriously. "We will cross that bridge when we come to it," Jaishankar said, adding that India has conveyed its energy and security concerns to Senator Graham.
Regarding Senator Lindsey Graham's bill, well, obviously, any development, but which is happening in the U.S. Congress is of interest to us if it impacts our interest or could impact our interest. So we have been in touch with Senator Graham. The embassy, the ambassador has been in touch. I think our concerns and our interests on energy security have been made conversant to him. So we'll then have to cross that bridge when we come to it, if we come to it.
Graham has previously claimed that India has sought relief from existing U.S. tariffs by highlighting reductions in Russian oil purchases, a point he said was raised by India's ambassador during a meeting last month. Trump himself has acknowledged strains in ties with Prime Minister Narendra Modi over trade issues, while repeatedly warning that tariffs could rise further if India does not cooperate on the Russian oil question. China, meanwhile, has not issued a fresh statement on the latest development, but has consistently rejected similar U.S. threats in the past, denouncing them as economic coercion and asserting that its energy trade with Russia is legitimate. As Washington pushes ahead with the sanctions bill, while also attempting to broker a peace deal between Moscow and Kiev, the legislation is emerging as a powerful but controversial tool that could reshape global energy trade and diplomatic relations.